Hey everyone, I'm Dr. Michael Hartley with Action Coach. What needs to pivot in my business, kickstart your day, get you refocused, because business is changing daily right now. About us and kind of where we need to prioritize things right now. So when we look at how we focus, we talk a lot about mindset. We've talked a lot about that this week, about what needs to pivot in our mindset. What do we need to do to make sure our mindset is strong every single day? Then the next step becomes, okay, so we talk about everything starts with thoughts that we have. Everything starts with what's up here. And if this isn't good, we're not going to be good. Results aren't going to be good, things like that. So once we have us better, our mindset is strong, that leads then to actions. So it starts with mindset. We've talked a lot about that this week. And if you haven't watched those, go watch them. They all get put on YouTube 9 p.m. every single day from that morning. So we get our mindset good, right? What's up here, super strong. Handful of things that we can be doing to make sure that we start every single day positive, focused, forward focused, all of those kind of things. Making sure we're having fun with what we're doing, making sure that what we're letting into our ears and into our eyes is pushing us towards what we want to do versus pulling us away from it, things like that. Then it gets into the actions we take and how we focus on what we're actually doing every single day. So how do we actually understand where our focus, our priorities must be? Well, it comes down to this simple, very simple quadrant, which you may have seen before. Urgent. Things in our life that we would consider urgent right now versus not urgent. Over here, fairly straightforward. We have what's important versus what's not. So wherever you're taking notes right now, wherever you're watching this right now, create this for you. So create your quadrant right here, urgent, not urgent, important, not important. Now, what we want to start understanding is what goes into each section, right? So what goes in here versus the other three, et cetera, et cetera. So we need to be honest with ourselves with what is truly important right now and urgent. What are those things right now? You see, we coach our clients to work on the business 1 hour a week versus in the business. Working on the business is not something that you do 40 hours a week for most individuals. Your business is not to that point just yet. It may get there eventually, but it's not there today. So we need to understand what are those things, because as an example, working on the business is things that are important and not urgent. Right now in our businesses, they have a lot of things that may feel important just because they're urgent, and yet they're really just not important even though they feel urgent. So wherever you're taking notes right now, I want you to create the quadrant and I want you to start outlining what goes into each one of these for you today to be successful, for your business to be successful, for you to be successful, for your mindset to be right, for your team to be focused on the right things. What goes into each one of these? So for you, what's important and urgent? And you have to really be honest with yourself. And if you have a coach, send it to your coach, because they'll help see your blind spots. Because oftentimes we think everything's important, right? Well, if I'm thinking about it, then it's clearly important. Well, it may just be urgent. It may not actually be important today. So what are those things? What are the things that are important and not urgent at all? Again, this is the working on the business stuff. We call this the demand zone. This is the demand. This is the working on the business piece. Then we get into, okay, what's truly not important? And of the things that are not important, what of them are urgent? They still need to get done. They're just not important to the business being successful, me being successful, things like that. And then what are the things that are not important and not urgent? This is called delusion. This is called distraction. Not important but urgent is distraction. Not important and not urgent is delusion, or vice versa. So once we have outlined what we got going on, you're doing this right now. This is the do it now quadrant. Anything that is in the urgent and important is in the do it now quadrant. You must focus on doing that right now. Then we get into the not urgent and important. This is the planet quadrant. So we have the do it now, demand. These are things that are both important and urgent. And then we got the planet. Lots of things right now may go into the planet for the future because business requires for us to do this kind of stuff right now. We coach our clients through 90-day plans. Well, this is a 90-day game right now. I will say that over and over and over again. The entire second quarter is this is the way life is for the entire second quarter. And if it ends earlier, great, we'll go celebrate that. We need a plan on this being life for the next 90 days. So we're also looking at saying some of the things that we thought we were going to do this quarter may need to get pushed out. Some of the things that 3 weeks ago we thought we were going to do in June, we may find that we need to pull sooner or push farther, whatever that is. And that's why we're looking at our 90-day plans consistently and what needs to shift, because right now, life is changing daily. Business is changing daily. So we have to be looking at these things consistently, which then brings us down here. So if it's not important and still urgent, this is the delegate it. So we got to be able to delegate it. Who are we delegating it to? What does that look like? Who is it going to go to? It's urgent. You've identified that. It's just not important. So who do we need to delegate it to? Is that somebody on our team? Is that a friend or family member right now? Is that somebody we need to go bring on? Who is it? If it's not important and urgent, it still needs to get done. It just doesn't need to get done by you. Which brings us to the final one. So it's not urgent and it's not important. This is the drop it. This is the drop it quadrant. Let it go. Maybe put it, we have something in our system called the parking lot. It's where ideas go to chill for a little bit. Like, I think I'd like to focus on this. I just don't want to focus on it right now. Put it in the parking lot. Come back to it 6 months from now and say, okay, is it now in one of these three? What does that look like? I want to, for a second, bring this back to the holistic side of life, which is both us and the business. What we're seeing right now is so many individuals are struggling internally that then this kind of becomes a mess. So how do you take this and apply it to life? How do you apply this to you specifically versus to the business? So what in life right now is important and urgent? Making sure you're covering bills, making sure that you're communicating with family, making sure you're investing time with family, making sure that you're staying safe. So really, wherever you're watching this, you should have two quadrants. You should have one that's labeled business and one that's labeled personal. So when you look at this in that light, what's the do it now for the personal? What's the do it now for our family? What's the do it now for us? What's the planet for the personal versus the business? What's that look like? Well, guess what? We know that this will be for a chapter, and this chapter will eventually end. And then we'll have the next chapter, which will be more of the economic shifts and things like that people are going to go through. And then we get back, and then we get past that, and then we're into the next chapter, right? When you look at the cycles of business and of the economy, we came out of a summer, we were forced into fall because of not a depression or anything like that, but because of a virus. From fall, we will hit an economic winter. Now, for all intents and purposes, what we're seeing right now is that winter will be relatively short. The government's doing everything that they can to make sure that the economic winter is relatively short. And candidly, when you look at the way the economy was, it was still booming, it was still moving forward, which means that the money is still there. Money is still out there, it's just being reallocated within individuals. So coming out of this thing, money will still be there and people will be looking to use that. Again, knowing that the government's doing things right now to make sure people keep their money, things like that. So we came out of summer, we hit fall, then we're hitting winter, then we start to hit spring again. And then we'll go back into summer. So the question is there's a book about this, about choosing your own spring. So how do you choose, both for you and for your business, to choose an economic spring? How do you do that? Well, that takes some thought, that takes some planning, that takes some thinking and teaching and learning and coaching. You can choose to put yourself past winter and into an economic spring. There are certain things that you just need to do to get there, which means thinking differently, doing things differently that you may have never done before, things like that. So that would go into the planet piece. Personally, what are the things personally that you just need to delegate? All right, so we are now at home. We're all teachers, right? Anyone who has kids is a stay-at-home teacher. Well, maybe we need to be able to delegate that back and forth to individuals. We're seeing, families with older kids being able to teach the younger ones as well. So that way the parents can focus on other things, not all day teaching kids, things like that. What's that for you? Maybe you don't have kids. Maybe the kids are all out of the house. What does that look like on the personal side that you need to delegate certain things? And then what are the things in life that we just need to drop? What are things that just really don't matter right now that maybe 3 months ago we would have been overthinking and focusing way too much on, that right now, you know what? They're just really not important and they're not urgent at all. And we're just going to drop it for now. Candidly, a lot of arguments and things like that, the petty stuff that we used to live through, right there, drop it. Let it go. Don't hold on to it. If you're driving around to go to the grocery store right now and someone cuts you off, let it go. Doesn't matter. Life is too short to let certain things here get to us. So drop it. Let it be in the past. Now, you may need to focus on doing certain things to get to the point where you can do that. That's not just something that some people can just choose to do right now. Some can. It's up to you. So, business and life. What are the things that you need to do now? What are the things that you need to plan for the future? What are the things that you need to delegate? And then ultimately, what are the things that we just need to drop? Let go, put in the past. Maybe we put them in a parking lot and we come back to them later. What are those things? If they're truly important, then they would be here anyways. So, what I'd like for all of you to do, and I'll open up the chat if it's not already open. What I'd like for all of you to do is type into the chat. What's one thing that you're going to drop? What's one thing that you're going to delegate? What's one thing that right now you've been focused on, but we just need a plan for the future? And then what's one thing that that maybe you haven't been doing, but you need to do now? So in the chat, please type it to me so I can kind of see where your thoughts are and whatnot. What's one thing that you're going to delegate? One thing that you're going to drop? One thing that you're what, I just need to plan this for the future. And then one thing that maybe we haven't been doing right now, but we need to. What are those things that in your life right now that kind of fit into this quadrant in both business and in personal life? Because it applies to both. Let's see, what do we got coming in here? Family is a big piece for sure. And there may be even, what part of it, right? When it comes to the family personal side, what's in each one? Frustrations. Absolutely. Letting those drop. What else? Type it into the chat, everyone. I want to kind of see where your mindset's at on all of this. More focused on lead generation. Absolutely. Going into the do it section. What else? Morning routine. Need to get into a more consistent morning routine and into the do it now. I like it. Plan it for buying a house. That's a good one. Consistent dinners. Delegating that. Chores. I like it. I'm not gonna repeat that one. Well, I appreciate that, but what are yours? I appreciate that, but what are yours? What do you need to do to shift your mindset that you're not currently doing right now? What are the things that you need to do to be more productive in your business that you're not currently doing right now? What are the things that you need to stop doing in your business that are holding you back right now? What are the things that you need to stop doing on the personal side that are causing negative thoughts into your head? What does that look like? If you have any questions, feel free to type them in. What I'll share with you here is this right here, one of the most powerful exercises you can go through right now to make sure that your mindset's good and to make sure that our actions are even better. Planning trips, love that. Learning how to delegate, absolutely. And if you've never become if you've never been a virtual leader before, go watch our series on that. That was pretty powerful. Creating a routine and a system for that's interesting. Yeah, totally. Things like follow up, massively important. All right, y'all. I appreciate your feedback and your input. If you're joining us and you're watching this and you're not doing this right now, you're wasting your time. Be honest with yourself of what needs to go into each of these. And then share it with somebody who can hold you accountable to it. And again, if you're watching this online through YouTube or for Facebook, type it in the comments and we'll get back with you there. If you're watching this live every Thursday, which is the day in which this is being done, we have virtual networking. Would love to get you plugged into that. We'll give you a few weeks free on it. Get plugged into a community. When it comes to what you need to do now, building relationships, building community goes into here. I'm Dr. Michael Hartley, y'all. I'm here to elevate your business, enhance your lifestyle, and make it an amazing rest of your week. Bye for now.